Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome in. I know it's been a while, but I'm gonna just go ahead and jump right into this thing, right? So we know what an answer is, right? If we turn around and say, uh, I'm gonna give you an example. How do I prevent myself from getting hurt? Right? Somebody, which which may be a right answer, is like you got to find a way to stop caring so much, right? I'm gonna use myself as a personal reference. And they're absolutely right. But the problem is, even though the answer may be right, how do I get to that solution? How do I get to that, how do I get to that conclusion of making that answer right, right? Because we all understand while an answer is important, the solution, the process of get to that answer is, something different. We all know that it's a similar thing. Scorp, good afternoon once again. Um, we know that we can get to that answer through the process of figuring out the answer. And a lot of people, like I said, they may say that it's all the same, but it's as my 33 brother would say, it's about the context, right? So the context matter is because while the answer is right, you still have to figure out how to get there, right? We know, like, let's just say 5 plus 5 is 10. The answer is right. But how did you get to the answer? You know what I mean? If you got to put 5 fingers up and the other 5 fingers up and count to 10, the solution was that's how you got to your answer. You counted 5 fingers on one hand and 5 fingers on the other and made 10. That's the solution that is like a confirmation that your answer is correct, right? So a lot of the times Atmosphere, what's up? Good afternoon. A lot of the time we live in a world to where we got a lot of copycats, right? Meaning we may all follow the same thing, right? Okay, you said that's right. So I'm a regurgitate or I'm a repeat that answer, right? Just because the answer is right, right? That doesn't mean that you came to the solution or how you got to that conclusion is like, all right, I came to it because somebody told me that. And I ain't fact check, I ain't do none of these other things. We are in a society to where realist what's going on. We are in a society to where we have to stop following people, right? And do the work ourselves. There's nothing wrong with confirming things, right? So when you do the solution based situation to get to that right answer, you are confirming the right answer. Just because you say it is, you want people to believe that it is, right? Because we all know that there's people saying that 1 + 1 isn't 2 is 11. You got to figure out your solution based situation is you got to figure out how to get to say if that's right or not, you know? And a lot of the time, instead of us doing the work, we just repeat the thing, right? So for me personally, it's I've come to this conversation because I'm just getting a little upset of people just doing just that. Just because somebody says something is, we just go along with it instead of us doing the work to come to our own solution and say, all right, well, they either telling the truth or they lying. This is we should not be in a place to where we should just be going along to get along. So if somebody says something, we should just be going along with it. We need to find out if it's true. Now, just imagine if one of you guys said, you know what, atmosphere is not. He's not the person that he say he is. He does X, Y, and Z. He's not a chef. He's not a chef. He's just a connoisseur, right? So it's up to me to decide. All right, let me get to my own conclusion, right? And to go to your own conclusion is by going through the solution of trying to solve the problem yourself. A lot of the times we're not even trying to solve the problem. We just sitting still and allowing people to just tell us anything. The sky is orange. Okay, let's believe the sky is orange. No, you gotta do your research. Why is the sky blue? Some people gonna say it's reflecting off the water, this, that, and the third. You do the research and come to a conclusion why the sky is blue. We we have to do that in our everyday lives. We have to figure out why people are here, you know, harming us instead of helping us, right? Is it because they don't have it, they don't have the intent in their heart, or just somebody don't like the other person and we just go back along and say, yo, that person ain't no good, and we just go along with it because they're doing to them what they're doing to you? No, you have to do your own work. If you do your own work, you can come up with your right answer, because every answer isn't the right answer. You see what I mean? Even if we can all agree that that answer is right, it may not be the right answer for you. And so you have to come to the solution, right? And we sitting there talking about, hey, we need to work together because A, B, and C. Okay, let's start with the solutions. Okay, we all have a common ground. We all believe that we can all help one another. That's the common ground. That's the foundation. We start building from there. And then we go along, have the conversations. We take what we need, we apply it to our conversations, and then whatever doesn't apply, we leave it for somebody that may need that information going forward. But in the meantime, as long as we continue to have the conversation, the solution can be found. And once the solution is found, we can confirm why we can work together. But until then, it's always going to be a question. There's people always going to doubt, so they're not going to want to come in. It's up to us. But for me, it's up to me to continue to show that it is possible that we can work together, or it's possible that we can all be like-minded people and not try to destroy each other during a conversation, or try to make ourselves look like we are right when the goal is it should be right. But in today's society, we got too many people wanting their answer to be right with no solution or no conclusion, and it's all based on a thought or a guess or something to that extent. We have to figure out what way that we can elevate ourselves with solutions and not just regurgitating someone someone's right answer. Not saying that their answer is not right, but you have to do the work. It's up to us to do it. You know what I mean? If I was to easily give up, right? Because I'm losing subscribers, right? Would I am I doubting myself because I'm not getting through to people? No, it's up to me to find a solution. How can I become better? My I I know that what I'm doing is right, but the solution is not working because obviously it may not be reaching people. It's my job to figure out how to make this make sense to other people. And because a lot of you guys come through and y'all show the support, I know I'm doing something right, but it's something more that needs to be done. That's the solution that we have to get to, even in our everyday lives. I know I need to change my life, but how do I do that? Right? How do I get away from this crowd of negativity? How do I get away from these people that continuously doubt me? The solution is you got to figure it out that you have to figure it out. It's easy to say, well, you get away from them by staying away from them. You got to draw the solutions of how to get away from them people. And until you do that, even though the answer is right, it's not complete. It's not a satisfactory answer. When you get through the solutions, all right, if I stay away from these people, if I don't go over there and type in their chat, or if I don't do anything disrespectful, I can get away from them and they won't be looking for me, or whatever it is that you're gonna do to get away from these people. But once you get away from them, you understand, you'll see that your answer is right. How? Because you're not around them. There's none of them in your chat. There's none of them talking about you negatively, or even in your everyday life. There's nobody talking about you, negatively. Well, Gary think he know it all, this, that, and the third. No, it's not about that. It's just, you trying to get away from them people because they're not helping you, they're hurting you. And part of getting the answer right is to get to the solution to where there's no way in the world that you can stop my answer from being right. It's like proofreading, right? If you write some work, right, and you begin to continue to proofread it, you can see that there's no errors in your mistake to where they can combat you and say, you know what, the word you put there is wrong, or the way you spelt it is wrong, or your context of how you're saying it is not the way it's supposed to be said. But when everything is right, your solution based situation, now you can say, you know what, I can finally put that out there and print it, or I can get the story out there. So too is our everyday life. So we have to figure out how to be right with the solution that verifies our right answer. And a lot of the time, like I said, because we got to get along, the come along and get along group is like, all right, we ain't worried about that because hey, he's saying something that I understand. And or she's saying something that I understand. Or they going against this person over here because of A, B, and C. We should not be like that. Because at the end of the day, if the answer is trying to be right, we need to work on how we got to the conclusion through the solutions that we are trying to build together. Whether it's, a conversation here, or getting a family together, or maintaining friendships, whatever it is, we have to figure out the way to make sure that the solution equates to the right answer. And like I said, most of the time it's not. Yeah, it is. And these are one of the things that I'm saying, right? Because yeah, Scorp is definitely hot. Uh, the kids is outside. The kids is outside enjoying themselves. I'm like, y'all go ahead and enjoy yourselves. I'm gonna be right here, and I'm talking to you guys. So but they love the weather. And even with that, you got to figure out, okay, it is hot. So how do we keep them cool? Right? Okay, they can go to the pool. They go to the pool, they go swimming, they keeping cool. Right? And then they could come home and say, you know what, it was hot, but the way we went about keeping cool was the best way for us. We got to play and not have to sweat. We in the pool, this, that, and the third. So it's all about making sure that the right answer has the conclusion or the solutions that verifies that right answer. So I just think that a lot of the times that we have to figure things out. We have to do the work but most of the time we're not doing none of the work. Oh well, they must have said it, so it's true, right? Or we just look at Google and say, well, that word means this, that, a third. And so we just, all right, well, that's what it is. No, it's many different translations and meanings, but make sure it all verifies that what you're saying is correct, right? Like if I say I don't change, I improve. You got to understand the difference, right? Because improvement means definitely becoming better, and change, while it can mean that, it also can mean you could change for the worse, right? So we know that those two are, they may work at the same level, but there's a one that can actually be a duality word and one that's not. So that's why I use the word improve when I'm talking about bettering yourself. But because people just, all right, well, we're just going to use the word change because we know change means that there's a difference in our life. Some people don't need to be different. Some people need to improve. You see what I'm saying? Because just because you different doesn't mean that you are bettering yourself, or you are uplifting yourself, or doing anything like that. So you have to know how to come to those solutions on your own, so you can confirm your right answer. So how do I figure out, how not to be used because of my kindness? Because they say your kindness is a weakness, right? The best way to do it is if you don't, share yourself with everybody, right? A lot of the time when you become a person that wants to help people, you become vulnerable to the wrong people, and they tend to abuse the kindness that you are giving them. So when it comes to that, you have to come to the solution. How do I make sure that I don't allow that to happen again? Does that mean that I shut myself down from everybody? No. The right answer is that I have to have discernment to where I can tell if somebody is going to appreciate me, or use me, or de-appreciate me, or make me feel less of a person by abusing my kindness. These are the solutions that you have to come to make sure that the answer of me not being uh, 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 overused is correct. And that's what a lot of us have to do, whether it's, well, I don't want to say anybody in particular, but that's just the way that you have to go about it, because anybody could say, you know what, I'm going to just use atmosphere so he can make me a pan or something, because he's a chef and he cooks well and this, that, and the third. Now I'm gonna see if I can get him to do this for me for a low price. No, you gotta pay what the market pays. But sometimes because of our connections, or we think we are cool with somebody, we tend to abuse the kindness for the weakness, right? So our best bet of making sure that we don't do that is the solution based. We have to make sure, well, if I was to do, if atmosphere say, if I was to do this for Gary, I may give him a discount, but everybody doesn't have that relationship with an individual, right? So if he gives me a discount, doesn't mean that Realist might get the discount, or Realist might get a better discount than I, because they known each other longer. You see what I'm saying? It's all about the situations, but it's a right answer. But you got to come to the solution of, well, if I do this, I have to make sure nobody's coming to me with some ulterior motive. And that's what a lot of us come on here and do now, right? Like, I appreciate everybody that comes to show me support and love. I don't think nobody, well, I'm pretty sure nobody is doing things like that. But there are one and two that may do it. And so the solution is, the question is, how do I make sure that one and two don't taint everybody else's uh uh conversation with me? Because we know that one bad apple can spoil a whole bunch. So the solution to that would be to take the apple out before it gets rotten and contaminates any other. And so too in our lives, we must do that. I don't care if it's a family member. I don't care if it's a friend. It could be your wife or your husband, whomever, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. If the solution is not right, then the answer won't be right. It could be right, but you won't. You just regurgitating. You following the leader, right? People getting married just to get married. They don't want the roles. They want the title. So how do you stop that? You just don't get married. You just don't end up in a relationship with the person, because that's not what you want. And in the meantime, you won't be hindering anybody else's future in the long run. So, like I said, we just got to figure out, how to get to these right answers, right? How to confirm the right answers through the solutions, right? What, like I said, it may seem like uh it's the same thing, but like I said, you got to look into these things, right? If you look into it, right, you see that the solution is really going to confirm why your answer is right. I knew I shouldn't have messed with that person. Why? Because I see down the line that their characteristic is not what they say they is. So if anybody feels that way about me, they would have to do the researching. They would have to, dang, but I can't find none of them. So that means your answer is not correct. What I'm doing is proper because you the information says so. The research would say so. And that's the confirmation that I want. So far on YouTube, I tend to know that I've been consistent long enough to say I'm not here to harm anybody. I'm here to help. And if you come up with a different answer, you would have to do the work to prove otherwise. But my solution to my answer is correct. Why? Because I've been there for people. People have called me and that we had conversations that nobody may not have known about. Their information is quiet, is safe with me. Or we had conversations and I cheered them up, or I prayed for them and it lifted their spirits up, or whatever it is that happened, right? My confirmation was through the solution of me being the person that I've said that I am, which makes my answer even more highlighted because it confirms that I'm here to help and not hurt. And I know a lot of people say they're here to help and do all of these things, or they don't care. They just But a lot of people on this thing is here to clickbait. A lot of people is here to you know just to get a cash app or whatever the other thing is when you get the money through YouTube or whatever it is, right? For me, it's not like that. For me, it's just BDB. What up, nine? For me, it's just as simple as being a consistent person and doing the right thing. Even though I'm doing the right thing, the basis or the way to confirm that is just by checking people. BDB is a gamer. He plays games, right? How do I know that? Because if you go through his content, he's consistent with himself. He's consistent with being a gamer or a contestant or having the battle raps or whatever. It's still a entertainment channel. So the conclusion that you would draw is that he's doing that for that reason, and you can't really dispute that. So you would say, well, BDB is an entertainment guy. How do I know? His channel say so, right? There's no inconsistencies in his channel. So the solution of him being a content creator is that he is an entertainer. He's in the entertainment aspect of YouTube. So that's who he is, right? So you can't take that away from him because his work is consistent of that. Realist is the same. Realist is the same way. He's a multi-purpose guy. He can have a opinion about this, or have a opinion about a battle rap, or have an opinion about what's going on in the world of entertainment. But the one thing you can't say is that he's on some fuck shit, because it's not too much. Well, I've never seen him do it, or I've never viewed it myself. If he has, it's not as consistent as what he normally do. And that's the thing that we have to understand. If you are doing things for the right reason, the name behind that is the information or the solution behind that is going to match the answer to do things. No, Scorp, you ain't got to be here to please anybody. But if you here to cause mess, that will be, somebody will say, well, she starts mess. How would I know? Well, I haven't seen you start mess. I mean, you like to joke around, but the intention is not to start mess. You just like to joke around. But that's what I'm saying. Your character, the information that you putting out there is enough to say, you know what? The conclusion is Scorp might be, she might be trying to be funny, but I don't think she's causing mess. or realist is realist is a guy that he will have his opinion and leave the opinion right there. He's not gonna go over there and chase you down and have a debate with you about A, B, C, or D, or why you don't like him, or this, that, and the third. He'll walk away from a confrontation. So he's not a combator, right? He's not there for the mess. He's just here to have an opinion about what he has an opinion on, leave it there, and keep it going. So that is the consistency of what we do. That is the solution to the answer of is realist a problem person? The answer the answer would be no, because we see that he's not in the position to cause problems. You know, a lot of the time, you know, people want you to feel like I said earlier, you think you know it all. It's not about me knowing it all. It's about me putting information out there that may help somebody. It will add to somebody atmosphere. You only messy when you want to be, I guess. Hey, CC, you know what I mean? So when when you trying to get to that right answer, no matter how you do it, like right now, right? Atmosphere says he's messy. Now I've been around atmosphere since I've been here, right? I have no way of knowing that atmosphere is messy. We might joke, we might joke and see things like, oh well, somebody made a mistake. Oh, they got caught up in their words. They ain't saying what they meaning. That's not being messy. That's just pointing out a fact. That's just pointing out an inconsistency. But that don't mean you're messy. Hey, you said you was one way, you ain't that way, right? So that was like if I come on here and I'm telling everybody, you know what, I'm here to help, and then I turn around and start doing things to hurt. Then y'all be like, hey, that's an inconsistency. Y'all wouldn't be wrong. Y'all would just point out the inconsistency. And then you would draw from this your conclusions from the solutions that's in front of you. And you make your own opinion. You know, it's not that majority rules, but you know, if you see it for yourself, you might, hey, damn, Gary's a fucked up guy if he doing shit like that. He's sitting there, you know, he telling everybody he helping, but he's sitting there telling this person, yo, go do something stupid, right? Go rob a bank or jump off the bridge or something like that. Instead of him normally saying, you know what, you still got time. Hey, I'll pray for you. Let's talk about it. Let me try to get you off the ledge. But other people might say, well, he might make you jump off the ledge. You see what I'm saying? That's the inconsistency, right? So the solution is you have to be observant to say, well, that person is on the right track, that person's on the wrong track, that person's doing good things, that person doing bad things. But I promise you, when your answer is confirmed through the solutions and confirmations of your solutions that you draw from, you can say, you know what, that person is doing the absolute right thing, or he's doing or she's doing the most consistent thing that they could possibly do, which is doing what they said they came to do. Right? Nobody wants to be called a liar, but some people don't care. But the best way to prove that somebody's telling us a lie is by just observing and going through what they're saying. Just observe and listen to them. Observe and hear their content. Hear the context of what they're talking about. If it don't match up, then hey, I told y'all he was fake. Because look, he ain't consistent with what he's saying. He's over here 1 minute, he's over there the next. He's over here 1 minute, he's over there the next. Or she's over there 1 minute, she's over there the next. It's a consistency that will make your solution be the answer that you come up with. Right? So you can't be running around here just faking moves and doing things half-assed, because your consistency is the key to becoming the person that you want to be. If you want to be that person that you know, I'll stay out of the mess, you ain't gonna find yourself in the mess. You ain't gonna find yourself in a situation that will disprove that you are the opposite of what you just told everybody. Right? It's like there's no need for me to be in the beef sector if I'm over here talking about I'm trying to help people, because the beef sector don't really want help, right? If a depressed person may want help, I may go over there to see if I can help, but that's because I have to see if they want the help. We know the beef sector wouldn't want help. You see what I'm saying? It's about where you put yourself, and when you put yourself into situations where you're trying to help, your consistency says, you know what, he's on the right track. He said he's trying to help, and he's going to continue to help. Right? It doesn't matter if our, one person's here, 100 people's here. If I got 500 subscribers, or I lose all of them and go down to 5, it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, if I feel like I'm doing right, I have to continue to do the things that makes my myself look correct, and that can't be disputed. You can find ways to come to a solution to make it look that way, but if I'm doing it right, you can't destroy it. You can't discredit the things that I'm doing. Why? Because I am doing things in the right way, right? You know, I know people talk about the entertainment world and R. Kelly and all of these other people. They make great music, but he's a lousy person. But what was the music talking about? You know what I mean? It's a different thing. So that's why people looking at those people now in a different light, because it's like, okay, well, R. Kelly's talking about love, but he's sitting there doing this stuff. Or they talking about P. Diddy's talking about bringing people together, but he's harboring this, that, and the third allegedly. So now you look at people in a different way. You look at this person like, yo, he's not what he said he was. He's a fraud. He's a fake. He's this, that, a third. But as for me, because they don't affect me. All I'm trying to do is to tell y'all, like, I'm nothing like them people. I'm telling you, we got to figure out things on our own, because they're up there doing nonsense, but we down here struggling. But if we work together, we can do A, B, and C. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People over here dropping hints and stuff like, nah, you gotta do you. But look how many people missed that. That's what I'm saying. Look how many people missed all of that. You see what I mean? When you're not paying attention, they're giving you the answers right in front of you. Just answers right in front of you. Is he consistent or not? But nobody's looking at that, because they're looking at his status. They looking at, what who he is in the world of entertainment, or whatever the case may be. You can distract people a lot of the time, but if you're paying attention, that distraction is really giving you the answer that you need to see if that person is right or not. But through the content of solutions, you would say, well, I don't think he's a good person. He might have did that just to make a couple of dollars. Whatever the opinion is. You see what I'm saying? It's a lot that we have to sit back and understand what's going on. But that's why a lot of the time I don't like to use those people as examples. I try to use us as examples. Why? Because there's some people that walking around here saying that they are trying to do the right thing and end up showing up. But there are people that are doing the right thing and showing up. Their work speaks for itself. Their interaction speaks for themselves. Their consistency speaks for themselves. Whether it's on their panel, somebody else's chat, somebody else's life, whatever. The consistency is what's going to make your right answer right, because the solution says nothing different from it. And that's the thing that we have to understand. We have to stop worrying about who's not being consistent, and let's see who's being consistent, right? If there was a better way for me to get everybody to work together, if we was all on the same page, that would be one thing. But my consistency says that we are speaking the right language and we should be working it. Now it's not up to me. It's up to everybody else to come together. I have already said that I'm willing to do that. I have spoken about that numerous occasions. I have been on people's panels that had those conversations numerous times. So it's not that I'm not being consistent. It's that maybe that the way that I'm delivering it ain't working for somebody, right? Now I have to figure out what's the best way for me to make my voice be heard more, and to make it be agreeable to have somebody else sit down and have the conversation. Because if I know if we have to sit down and have a conversation, I know that they will agree that I'm on the right. We are all on the same path. But it's the solutions that we have to get to in order for it to work, for the right answer to be confirmed in the first place. So I just think that, a lot of us we just say that we want to be right, but we don't want to come to the conclusions, or do the work to be right. It's like if we cheating off of somebody's paper in school. Hey, what's 5 + 5 is 10 over there? Okay, well, that's what you got. I'm gonna write that down too. They don't know if it's they just know that that person is smart. So we just gonna cheat up the smartest person in the room. So they just going by what they going by. They're not doing the work. They're not coming to how do I know 5 + 5 is 10. They just writing it down because the smartest person over there says so, or a person that has great has a great way of reaching people is saying the same thing. No, if we sit down together, you can understand me. I can understand you. Like I can understand BDB. I can understand realists. They can understand me a lot. Well, hopefully they saying that I'm doing the right thing. I mean, they saying it because they still here, unless unless they doing something crazy. Yet for the most part, they must be saying he's doing the right thing because they have not disappeared. They have not, you know what I mean? Even if the conversation is boring, the one thing that they can say is that he is consistent with his message. He is sitting there trying to do the right thing for the right reason. You know what I mean? That's the conclusion that they've drawn from the longest time that they've been around me. Like I said, atmosphere and realist right now has been around me the longest. And obviously they still here because I have kept my end of the bargain. My answer is I'm still trying to do the right thing. Even if they might be like, damn, ain't nobody else here. Or ain't no, you know what I mean? Like ain't nobody else, coming through the conversation. He ain't had nobody in a while, whatever the case may be. But the fact of the matter is I'm still doing the right thing. I'm still consistent. The solution may not be the way, or the solution may not be working for everybody, but the consistency says he's still on the right track. So I may be right. Now I have to find a solution to be heard even more for somebody else to say, you know what, we all can confirm 500 people say he's right because they subscribe to his channel or whatever the number is, right? I'm saying 500 because that's when you become monetized or whatever the case may be. So 500 people said that BB is a gamer. I think realist is up there. So 500 people said realist is a person that is about his business, right? They haven't disputed it, even though they may not come into the chat. They agreed that he did something. A lot of it may be because somebody else like him. Check him out. They checked him out. Yeah, he got some good content or whatever the case may be. But the fact is, they are being consistent, which means they are who they say they are. So they are correct in saying who they are. Yeah, so it's like I said, it's a lot, continuously trying to do the right thing and and having no way of knowing that you're doing the right thing. But most of the time, well, being confirmed that you're doing the right thing, but most of the time it's all about how you feel. If you feel you doing right, you continuously go about that thing. Like I'm very passionate about doing the stuff that I'm doing, right? Even though I have to take a step back because the kids are here now for the summer or whatever the case may be, I'm taking a step back. I'm enjoying the time with the kids. But at the end of the day, I am consistent, about doing the right thing, right? That's just like if I was to blow my kids up, say, man, forget my kids. YouTube is more important. Y'all would look at me like, yo, you just totally opposite of what the hell you said you was from the gate. You know what I'm saying? So that's the consistency. That is part of the solution is your consistency of saying who you are and being the person that you saying you are consistently. It draws the conclusion that hey, there's nothing wrong with that person, that individual. So we got to continue to stop being robots and do our own work because a lot of people say a lot of things, but if you don't do your own work, your own research, you will never know that the right answer is being confirmed through the solutions that you have come up with. So, I just wanted to come up here real quick and have that brief conversation. You know what I mean? I'm about to go ahead and get up out of here and jump in this water with the kids. It's, they having fun and things like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and join them. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Uh I think I'm gonna have a conversation in a little while about another topic that's really been bothering me. But you guys keep your you keep your alerts up, and I'll have that conversation too. Until then, I'll see you guys later. I appreciate you stopping by. I'm out.